Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Baseball Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We'll be covering four different topics, and they are first just about the games that are on today with baseball, what's going on with spring training, just covering those, previewing those a little bit, even though they have started already. We'll be talking about them. Then we'll be talking about both AL and NL teams, what's their most impactful addition so far of the offseason, and how that affects their team going into the season. And finally, just some news around the league like usual. Just some news that I thought was interesting I wanted to talk about, but I didn't maybe thought didn't deserve its own segment. So now, before we do that, I would like to ask you to please like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers during the show that come in, so to ensure that your question does get read on air, I ask that you please use the tips and donation link you see on the screen, streamelements.com/GSMC Sports Network /tip. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I do see it, and it really does help the show, so thank you so much for that. All right, so we're going to be getting into our first segment here, which is what I talked about before, the games on today, and what's going on with that. So there are 4 spring training games on today. There's 6, actually. Some teams are playing, I think, minor league affiliate, but we're not going to really be talking about those. We'll be talking about the 4 games that are on with the MLB teams versus MLB teams. So, let's get it started. First, we're going to talk about the Royals Rangers and what to watch with that and what's going on with that. So the first thing is just a live update of the game. It is 1-1 right now, with it tied in the bottom second, obviously. Matt Duffy just singled in a run for the Rangers to tie the game up after Drew Waters, former Braves prospect who's now on the Royals, hit a home run. So, some exciting action in today's Royals Rangers game so far. So that's something to watch for your baseball fan, and just what's going on with that right now. Some things to watch in the game, of course. So first, obviously, it is the first Rangers game after them winning the World Series. The team does look a little bit different, and it is spring training, so of course they're going to look different in spring training as well. But it's just to watch, how is that title defense going to start? How is that team going to feel? Are they going to feel, like, okay, this is it. We got to start defending our crown now. This is our season. It's our championship to lose. How's the team going to feel coming out for the first game? Next, continuing with the Royals. I've talked about him before, and I'll continue to talk about him because he is a beast. Wyatt Langford is playing today for the Rangers. If you've watched my a few segments of my show the past few days, I love Wyatt Langford, and I think he's one of the better prospects in baseball. Guy was picked at the top of the draft from Florida this year and just tore up AAA. That was, after he tore up Florida, which is why he was part of the top of the draft as well. He's so good in my opinion. I think he's one of the best prospects in baseball, and I'm super excited to watch him this year and with the Rangers. I'm really, really high on him. Spoiler alert, I have him winning Rookie of the Year, even though he isn't up yet. I do think he makes the team out of camp. That's how good he is. Getting to watch Wyatt Langford, to me or any baseball fan, should always be a treat. He's very, very good. He's, going to be part of the Rangers core for a long time. Him and Evan Carter are going to be man in the corners of that outfield for a little while now. So, I'd look at Wyatt Langford today and what's going on with him and how he's going to play. Before we get to the part of the Royals, this game is actually tied 1-1 with the bases loaded with no outs and Josh Smith at the plate. So we'll see if anything happens with that while we're on live right now. Going to the Royals, this is their first game of the season, of course. It's their first game after their big additions, adding all the big additions in the offseason, guys like Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, Hunter Renfroe, Will Smith, those kind of guys. Even got John Schriebler a week ago around, who's a really good pitcher from Boston, who I think is going to help that bullpen a lot. So, just to watch that, see how the organization feels, see how players feel. Do they feel better about the team now? Do they feel, more proud to be a Kansas City Royal after the additions? Just how will that organization look different at all with putting a lot more stock into the team? Jake Brent, who is pitching for the Royals, just threw a wild pitch. So Sam Huff scored from third, so it is now 2-1 to Rangers. So Matt Duffy is on third, Ezekiel Duran on second, Josh Smith still at the plate, 1-0 count. So again, if something else happens with that, we'll update you on live time. So yeah. So those are the things I think we should be watching for this game, just kind of the storylines and what's going on with it. So yeah, if you do end up watching this game or just spring training baseball in general, I think that's something to see. Next game we'll be talking about is the Battle of Chicago, the White Sox versus the Cubs. So right now, currently, it is 6-0 Cubs in the top of the second. I think that's a fair assessment of how the White Sox season is going to go this year. Jesse Chavez was the opener for the White Sox. He obviously did not pitch very well, giving up 6 runs in the first to the Cubs. So yeah, not starting off great for the White Sox, but again, we all knew this. The White Sox are not going to be very good. I don't think it's a surprise or anything. So obviously it is spring training, but I think it's just a reflection of how the season is going to go for the White Sox, which is not very well. Some things to watch here. First, the Cubs' young pitcher, Jordan Wicks, is starting. Former first-round pick for them. I think he's going to be pretty good, going to play a big part of that rotation for the Cubs. And as I say this, I believe he just gave up a home run to Tim Elko, so that's nice. But other than that, he was doing well before. Let's see, sorry. Yeah, Tim Elko homered for the White Sox, as I talked about how good Jordan Wicks could be. So that's pretty anticlimactic, but that's how baseball works, I guess. So yeah, I'm putting the home run aside. I'm very high on Jordan Wicks. I love his curveball. I think he's going to be a really good starting pitcher for the Cubs in the future. And even this year, he's going to play a big part of that rotation. So I'm really excited to watch him, see how he does perform, see how he plays. So yeah, I'm excited to watch that. I'm excited to watch him. The White Sox new additions are playing. That's another thing to watch. Obviously, it's not going very well for them right now, considering it is 6-1 in the second. But again, in spring training, everyone has to, get prepared a little bit. So the White Sox new additions that are playing are Kevin Pillar, Paul DeJong, Dominic Fletcher, Rafael Ortega, Martin Maldonado, Nicky Lopez, and the aforementioned Jesse Chavez, who obviously has not started out his tenure on the South Side very well. So yeah, those are some things to watch in the White Sox-Cubs game. Obviously, we just saw a homer. So, yeah, Dominic Fletcher just got a hit as well off Jordan Wicks. So I talk good about a pitcher, and this is what happens, of course. So Josh Smith just walked in the Royals-Rangers game before. So Marcus Semien is now at the plate with the bases loaded, no outs. So we'll see if he does any damage. I'll let you know. But going down now, we have the Padres-Dodgers game to talk about. It is currently 2-0 Dodgers in the bottom of the second. Freddie Freeman homered on the first pitch he saw, so that's a nice start to second game for Dodgers fans, and fans hoping to see Freddie Freeman continue his slugging ways as a first baseman. So yeah, obviously it was 14-1 yesterday, Dodgers. Not a very good start for the Padres. Joe Musgrove was starting as well, and it was a blowout, so that's not very good. Obviously, Padres fans are probably hoping this game goes better. So, yeah, I think that's something to watch. What's going to happen with that? Are the Padres going to rebound? We'll definitely have to see. Also, to watch the Padres, you have Johnny Brito making his Padres debut. Obviously, didn't start off very well with Freddie Freeman homering, but I still think Brito is going to be a very good pitcher for the Padres in the future. Was a big part of the Juan Soto trade with the Yankees, of course. Brought back a good amount of pitching depth to San Diego, and Johnny Brito was part of that. I think he's a really good pitcher, really good player, and I'm glad the Padres got him to get more pitching depth in there. So yeah, just to watch him, how he performs in his Padres debut. Is the stuff on point? Is he going to look like a guy that was one of the centerpieces of a blockbuster trade? We'll see. So yeah, that's something to watch here. Next, we have Manuel Margot. He's making his Dodgers debut. I guess Dodgers fans will be excited to watch him. Was kind of went under the radar a little bit with all the Dodgers additions. Was acquired with Tyler Glasnow in that big trade in January. I forget when it actually was, but yeah, gonna play a nice role for the Dodgers. Probably plays a platoon role with Jason Hayward, and also a fourth outfielder role as well, bringing some late game defense and speed to the mix. So I think it was a good move by the Dodgers to bring him in. Good depth as well for them, and I think he'll play an important role in this team, maybe even though he is getting a little overshadowed with all the stars on the team and the stars that they have added this season as well. Final game, Rockies Diamondbacks. Not much to talk about with this game. First game of the pennant defense for the Diamondbacks, of course. They made the World Series last year, so trying to defend that this year, and it starts in spring training. It starts with the first game of the year, so that's something to watch. Jock Peterson is making his Diamondbacks debut. He is going to be their primary DH with Randall Grichuk. They're going to play a platoon role, so something to watch for your Diamondbacks fans. See how this turns out. See how he starts off his tenure with Arizona. Not much to talk about with the Rockies. Some of their prospects are playing, I guess, but no one really too notable to talk about. If you've watched my videos, you know I don't really feel very fond about the Colorado Rockies. I think they don't know what they're doing. That's what I really think. They're just kind of there. So, yeah, I mean, not much to say about Colorado and what's going on with them. So, yeah, now we have a few minutes, so we're just going to go over what's going on in the games right now, see if we can catch any exciting moments. I'm going to take a swig of water, then we'll talk about it. Sorry about that. Also, wanted to mention at the last episode, at the end, but I forgot. Sorry if I was sneezing a little bit or doing anything like that last episode. I am a little bit under the weather, so if that came out on the mic, I apologize. I tried doing it a little bit away from the mic, but if it did come out or I sniffled as well, I do apologize if it disrupted your listening time. So sorry about that. But moving on here. So Diamondbacks, Rockies, just nothing going on as I expected. Again, kind of just an irrelevant game. We don't really know what's going to go on with that. No one really kind of cares. Diamondbacks fans probably care. Rockies fans, I don't really know. So Royals, Rangers, and Evan Carter just hit a sacrifice fly. So Rangers are on the board now 3-1. Their former pitcher Cole Reagans is in, so he's pitching against his former team. My guy Wyatt Langford is up, so we'll see if he can do anything good against Cole Reagans. The White Sox, they have scored a run. They scored a run before. It is 6-1 now still. So after that, Dominic Fletcher singled. Rafael Ortega grounded into a force out, and Martín Maldonado reached on a fielding error by the pitcher, Jordan Wicks. Nicky Lopez is up now with men on first and second with 2 outs. Maybe trying to get this game back into contention with the White Sox. Obviously, he's not a big power hitter, but maybe can do something here. Obviously, he was acquired from the Braves in that Aaron Bummer trade. So we'll see what happens with that. So yeah, we're just waiting on Wyatt Langford and all these guys to see what happens here. So yeah, just going over what I was talking about before. Yeah, I'm very okay. Sorry. Before I talk about that, Wyatt Langford grounded out, so that is the end of the inning. For them, we're gonna shift over to the White Sox Cubs game, and after that, we'll probably go to our next segment. But just talking what I was talking about, I'm very interested to watch Johnny Brito a little bit more, not just in this game, but in the entire spring training. I thought he was overshadowed in the Padres-Yankees trade because of Soto, because of Michael King. So, I'm really excited to watch him, see what he can do for the Padres, see what depth he brings to that team, and if he can bring another dimension to them. I like his stuff. I'm hoping it's working this year and bring something to the Padres staff. That's something to watch, I think. 0-1 right now in the White Sox-Cubs game, 6-1 Cubs. Nicky Lopez at the plate. The Cubs have put in a new pitcher, Hunter Biggie. He has 2 career games in the major leagues and has a 27 ERA. This sounds like spring training. We'll probably go to the end of this at-bat here, and we'll see what happens. Nothing. There's an on-field delay. I don't know what that is. But I think, so that's what's going on right now with this game. But again, what we talked about, just going over this segment, is Royals Rangers, what's going on with that, who to watch. As the game continues to go on, we'll update all these games as I'm on live, and I'm sure audio listeners can hear it as well. The Battle of Chicago, the Cubs and the White Sox, what's going on there, and what we're talking about the game right now, of course, 1-1 count. And just to watch all the White Sox editions as well as the Cubs. Padres, Dodgers, Can the Padres bounce back after a rough game yesterday? Johnny Brito, I've talked about him a few times now. Manuel Margot, can he do something in his Dodgers debut and make Dodgers fans hopeful for his season this upcoming year? And Rockies Diamondbacks, just the first game of the Diamondbacks, definitely not the Rockies. The Diamondbacks title defense for the NL, and seeing what happens with that. Rafael Ortega just stole third base for the White Sox. It is now a 1-2 count with Nicky Lopez at the plate. We'll see if anything happens here, and then we'll probably go to break. 2-2 count now. Going over the other games quickly right now. 2-0 Dodgers. Man on first and second for the Padres with Tyler Wade at the plate, so maybe they'll do something while I'm going to break. We don't know. Nicky Lopez still at the plate here. Some other games that are going on that I didn't really talk about were the Huskies versus the Red Sox, their minor league affiliate. Red Sox blew them out, thankfully. Something nice for Red Sox fans, I guess, here now. See that. We also have Golden Gophers versus the Twins tonight. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see what goes on there. And, I think that's pretty much it for this segment. We'll probably update the White Sox-Cubs game after. It was going a little too long for my liking. So, we'll come back after the break. We'll probably update you what happened with that, and then we'll go to our next segment as well after that, which is AL teams, what their most impactful addition was this offseason, and we'll just be talking about it. So, we're going to take a break, but then we'll see you after that. So, thanks.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment. But before we do that, I would like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. Donate as well using the link on the screen, dreamelements.com/GSMC Sports Network /tip. It really does help me, really does help the show, really helps everyone, and it means a lot. So thank you in advance so much for that. All right, we're going to our second segment here about AL teams and their most impactful addition. Before we do that, I just want to mention Nicky Lopez was caught out of strikes, so not very exciting. But that's what we expect from the White Sox right now. We're going to start with our second segment here. I'm going to be talking about each AL team and what their most impactful addition was for the season. Out of the players they added, who I think will be most impactful to the team and the franchise. It may not be the best player. It will be for most of them, but some of them will not be. Just to let you know. So let's get it started. I'm going to start off with the Orioles, and I think it's pretty clear what the Orioles one is, and it's Corbin Burns. The Orioles added an ace this offseason, which everyone wanted them to do. It's not the ace we expected. I think I was like most people was expecting them to get Dylan Cease, but they did not. They instead got Corbin Burns from Milwaukee, who is very good. What can you say about Corbin Burns that hasn't been said? A bona fide ace in this league, one of the better guys in the league when he was with Milwaukee. Still is. Great trade by the Orioles that came out of nowhere to finally get an ace, get a guy like Corbin Burns. So, good for Orioles fans, good for the Orioles' new ownership for showing fans that they want to win. And, I'm excited to watch him in Birdland. So, something exciting to watch, Corbin Burns in Baltimore. So that was definitely their most impactful addition. We're going to go to another obvious one here with the Yankees. We all know what it is. Obviously, it's Juan Soto. I mean, there's no other real one to say here. They added one of the better players in baseball in Juan Soto. He's arguably the best hitter in baseball. He's 25, 24. Just an insane player. There's so much stuff that's been said about Juan Soto that I don't even know what to really add to this. He's a great player. Is going to be great for the Yankees, and is easily their most impactful addition, especially when you look at how bad their lineup was last year, how bad their left field situation was. I talked about it earlier today on my coworker Kenneth's show, but just you had guys like Billy McKinney, Jake Bowers, playing regular starts for the Yankees, and getting Juan Soto to just solidify that spot for this year is just very important. And even if their lineup was good last year, still adding Juan Soto gives any team another dimension to that. So he's easily their most impactful addition, not even a question. And I would say most people would probably agree with that. Next, the Rays. They didn't really add many impactful players like the Rays do. We know about the Rays. They added Phil Maton and some other guys who were good, but I'm a big fan of, I've said it before, I'm a big fan of Ryan Pepio, who they got in the Dodgers trade. I think he should be able to fill out Glasnow's spot pretty well in the rotation. I'm really high on him as a pitcher for the future. I think he can be really good. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching him with Tampa Bay and what goes on with that. And just to see what happens there and see if he can fill the potential I believe he has and be a big part of that Rays rotation for not only this year but years ahead. Next, we have the last team. We have the Red Sox. I was going to Blue Jays quickly, but we're going to go to the Red Sox, which is the right team to go to on my list here. And they didn't add much, of course. They added Tyler O'Neill. They added Vaughn Grissom, who I think are good players, but I think easily their most impactful one's going to be Lucas Giolito. They needed a starter. They didn't add anyone but Lucas Giolito. I guess there's still a chance they add someone like Jordan Montgomery. We'll be talking about Montgomery and the Red Sox later, so we'll go more in depth with that later. But yeah, Giolito's a good pitcher. I think he brings a nice starter to the Red Sox. He probably shouldn't be an ace on any team in the year 2024, but he is for the Red Sox right now. That just shows you kind of where the team is, very much in a bridge situation. He's going to be an impactful player, but I'm just not sure about his long-term fit on the Red Sox and how well he plays into their entire offseason because they didn't really do much. So yeah, he's easily the most impactful addition, but I don't know if that's something to be necessarily too happy about if you're a Red Sox fan. So next, the Blue Jays, the most impactful addition. Obviously, it's Daniel Vogelbach. That's a joke, obviously. It's not Daniel Vogelbach, but it was nice that they re-signed him and added him again. The Blue Jays have had a very interesting offseason. We had thought at one point they were destined to get one of Juan Soto or Shohei Ohtani. Instead, they didn't, and they settled for guys like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, like Yariel Rodriguez. Both are good players, but I don't think they're guys that immediately get you into championship status or are going to win you a championship single-handedly. I thought their most impactful addition, though, was Justin Turner. I think he fills out that DH spot for them really well. You're going to lose Brandon Bowden for agency most likely. We don't know where he'll go yet, but yeah, I think bringing in Justin Turner really fills out the DH spot quite well. He had a great season with the Red Sox last year. He's a veteran bat who brings, from what we've heard, a nice presence in the clubhouse. So yeah, I like the fact that they solidified their DH spot with Pop-Tart. I like the signing for the Blue Jays, and I like what it brings for them. So next we have Cleveland. They did not make many moves, as is the Cleveland MO, as they are a smaller market team, and they're owned by one of the Dolans. And if you're a basketball fan or a Knicks fan, you definitely know that the Dolans don't make many moves because they're not great owners. But yeah, looking at the Guardians, really the only one you'd have to say here is Austin Hedges, which is embarrassing for the Guardians. I mean, he's a backup catcher who used to play for the team. He is a valuable player for contending teams because he brings great defense, great framing, probably the best framer in baseball. But man, he just cannot hit, and this should not be your most impactful addition if you're a team. I mean, I was debating putting Carlos Carrasco here in 2024. Like, that's how underwhelming of an offseason Cleveland has had. And I understand that they're not necessarily trying to go all out, but you have to make some kind of move, right? And I just don't know if Austin Hedges is that. So it's a fine move, but it shouldn't be the guy that you're basing your entire offseason success around. So, yeah. The Tigers, they made a good amount of moves this offseason, a lot of them geared toward pitching. They added a hitter yesterday in Gio Urshela, so that's something. But their most impactful addition, in my opinion, is a pitcher, and it is Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty had not great seasons with the Cardinals after starting his career out very well, dealt with some injuries. Got traded to Baltimore, didn't really help as well, but the Tigers signed him to a one-year hoping that he would get his value back up to where it once was with the Cardinals, being one of the better pitchers in baseball. I'm not a huge fan of the signing, but I think the Tigers know what they're doing over there. They have a good organization. They run it well. So, I'm excited to see if they can fix Flaherty, and he brings a nice addition to that pitching staff that could use a veteran arm. So, I'm excited to watch Flaherty, and he's definitely their most impactful addition. Shelby Miller, Chafin, they were good additions to the bullpen, but I thought Flaherty, because he's going to be a starter, not just a middle relief guy, would be more impactful. So I picked him for this. The Royals. To me, it's Seth Lugo. The Royals, we've talked about them a few times now, but I'm going to keep talking about them because I'm still very surprised at their offseason and very happy they did something. They added a lot of players this offseason, and Seth Lugo, I think, was at the forefront of that. He was one of their bigger signings. We knew about a lot of teams interested in him, and the Royals got him. He brings a really nice pitcher to that pitching staff, a young pitching staff that needs kind of a veteran arm. Lugo signed as a starting pitcher with the Padres last year, worked out really, really well, and now got himself a nice contract with the Royals, 3 years, $45 million. And I think it's a good signing for the Royals as well. I think he's going to very, very much be impactful for them. Be very good. And, I'm looking forward to what he can do with the Royals and how he performs and what goes on there and how it goes, how his tenure in Kansas City goes. The Twins, they didn't make many moves this offseason because they didn't really need to. They had a lot of young players to just fill out the spots that left in free agency. But one of the moves they didn't make was Carlos Santana, which I did like. I think he brings a nice platoon presence to the DH spot. He can hit lefties really well. Brings a veteran presence to that lineup. Seems like he's always hitting no matter what team he's on. Just a good, solid veteran bat you can rely on. I thought it was a good addition for the Twins, and I'm happy they did it. And again, I think it's a nice move that is nothing too crazy, but brings some nice depth to the Twin Cities. Next, we have the White Sox, and I've wanted to talk about him more on the channel, but I haven't really gotten the opportunity to, and that is Eric Fedde. Eric Fedde was, in my opinion, one of the most underrated signings of the offseason. He kind of became a meme on social media because he was taking so long to sign after it was reported that he was down to 2 teams. But he signed with the White Sox, and I'm really a big fan of it. He won the MVP in the KBO, came over, got himself a nice contract with the White Sox, 2 years, $10 million. I'm very high on him. I think his new pitch is going to do wonders. I think you could point to a guy like Merrill Kelly, who came over from Japan, reinvented himself, and became one of the better pitchers for the Diamondbacks on that staff. So, I'm looking forward to watching Eric Fedde in Chicago and seeing how he does perform and what's going to happen with that. So, I'm looking forward to that. Moving on to the AL West here. Astros, it's easily Josh Hader, adding arguably the best closer in baseball. I think is an easy, most impactful addition for them. You have now one of the best bullpens in baseball, if not the best. All your pitcher has to do is go 6 innings, and it's basically done from there. 7th inning, Brian Abreu. 8th inning, Ryan Presley. 9th inning, Josh Hader. It's done after that. That's just locked down. Like, that's incredible. An incredible back end. So I'm really looking forward to how he plays in Houston and how if he can live up to that contract. Obviously, teams are usually worrisome to give big contracts to relievers, but I think Hader's an outlier just because of how good he is and the fact that he's more of a closer. So, I'm looking forward to watching Hader in Texas. Angels, Another bullpen arm, Robert Stevenson. Robert Stevenson had a breakout season with the Rays last year. His stuff was always really nice, and the Rays saw that, claimed him, and put it together for him, which they do a lot. The Indians signed him to a big 3-year contract for a reliever. I think it's slot into the 8th or 9th inning. Him and Carlos Estevez can close out games for the Angels. I don't know how many games they'll be closing out because they're not the best team. But, yeah, I still think it was a good move. Still think it was impactful for them. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching him close games with his electric stuff in Anaheim. So I definitely thought that was their most impactful addition. The A's. They're the A's. We don't really know what to say here. I guess Alex Wood, who they signed for a 1-year contract. Trying to get him on a bounce-back season. If he bounces back, you can trade him at the deadline for a good prospect. If he's bad again, you can use him as part of your tank to get a good prospect in the draft. So it's kind of a win-win either way for the A's, but I guess he was their most impactful addition because they're not going to add much, because why would they? They're the A's. They're not trying to win, and they're going to be moving to a different city in the next few years as well. So, the Mariners. I definitely thought it was Mitch Garver. I love what he brings to the Mariners in a DH role. If he can stay healthy, which I think there's a better chance of now if he's a full-time DH, I think it's a really impactful bat to a Mariners lineup that desperately needed one. Again, I love the signing. I thought it was really good value as well. So, yeah, I love the dimension it brings to the lineup. You need more hitting, and I think Mitch Garver definitely brings that as the DH. That was a good signing, and overall just a good signing for them. That's going to be impactful in my opinion. Almost went Jorge Polanco here, but I think Mitch Garver's a little bit better, and for what he brings, even though he is the DH and Polanco is going to be playing defense, I think both are good additions, and both are definitely impactful that you should watch if you're a Mariners or baseball fan. And finally, ending it with the world champions, Rangers. They haven't added much. I thought at this point they'd have Jordan Montgomery, but of course, you know now, he is probably not going to be coming back. So they added David Robertson to the back end of the bullpen, which I thought was a good addition. That was a little bit pricey for what he brings, but it is deferred, so it's kind of okay. Obviously, we're seeing a lot more deferred contracts now in baseball, including Ohtani, which is the big one that kind of started this whole thing. So, yeah, he brings a nice dimension that back end of the bullpen, which definitely needed it, even though they did win the World Series. That was probably their one thing that was kind of lackluster in the playoffs as well, back end of the bullpen. Obviously, Robertson came over from the Mets to the Marlins at the deadline last year. Was not good at all with the Marlins, but maybe they hope he can play good with Texas and kind of go back to David Robertson with the Mets and the Phillies and kind of regain that form that they're hoping. So, that was the end of segment 2 here. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do that, just an update on the games that are going on right now. Nick Lofton hit a double for the Royals against the Rangers, and it is now 3-2 Rangers. Nothing updating in the White Sox and Padres games, and still nothing in the Colorado Rockies and Arizona Diamondbacks game, with both have one hit apiece. So that's just an update for that. But yeah, we're going to go to our second break here, and after that, we're going to go to our segment 3, which is the NL team's most impactful additions. I don't know why it looks like that right now, but I'm going to change that. There we go. That looks better. So yeah, we're going to go to our segment 3, but first we're going to take a break, so I'll see you after that. Thanks.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment. And our third segment is going to be like the last one, which was AL team's most impactful addition this offseason. We're going to now be doing NL teams most impactful addition, and what's going to go on with that. So yeah, I think let's get straight into it. Yeah, I think starting off with the Mets is appropriate. So this is going to be kind of an interesting one. I'm curious to see what people think about it. and that is Adrian Hauser as the Mets' most impactful addition. Now, the Mets did not add many big names. They added guys like Harrison Bader, Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, Shintaro Fujinami, guys like that who were good players but kind of just around the edges, helped the depth of the overall team. And Hauser definitely is part of that as well. But I think when you just look at most impactful for the team, I definitely think it is going to be Adrian Hauser. Adrian Hauser is definitely the worst of the pitchers I mentioned. They got, even with Senga being out, he's still probably the 5 starter in that rotation. But I think he brings an element to the Mets that no other pitcher in the rotation can, which is just stability. I mean, this is a guy that consistently throws innings, maybe not the best ERA, but still a respectable one that gets the job done, that eats innings at a good amount. And I think that's something the Mets really need. Manaea, Senga, we already saw it, Severino, Quintana, they all have injury risks, and they all have risks of their own. And I don't really think Hauser does. I just think he's a good, stable number 5. And I think when looking at impact of this year, I think Hauser is going to be the most impactful simply for the fact that he is going to throw consistent innings most likely and just be a consistent force in that Mets rotation. Now, of course, as I say this, he'll probably get hurt because of what's going to happen with that. But I'm still hopeful for Hauser and what he can bring to the Mets. The Braves. The Braves did not add much this offseason simply because they don't really need it. They have an amazing team already. But one of the big players they did add, I'd probably say their most impactful addition is Chris Sale. The Braves need another starter. I don't know if just adding Reynaldo Lopez to be a starter after he was a reliever for most of his career is that you bring Chris Sale. If he stays healthy, he can be the most impactful addition on that Braves roster that has needed some pitching depth the past few seasons, not only in the regular season but in the playoffs. I mean, we've seen what happened with the playoffs with the Braves the past few years, just how much it's kind of failed them, and it's a big reason why they haven't made it back to the NLCS after winning the World Series in 2021. So, I definitely think Chris Sale is someone to watch. Phillies, they didn't really add many people. I'm not counting Aaron Nola because they didn't add him. He was a re-signing. So I'd probably say it's Whit Merrifield because they didn't add many people. He brings a nice element to the bench for the Phillies. Nice depth there, but that's kind of it. Nothing really else. So I don't know what else to say about Merrifield here, but that's it. He's kind of it. Phillies haven't done much in adding people, so we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see how Merrifield performs with Phillies. The Nationals, again, a team that hasn't added much, but why would they? The Nationals are not very good at baseball. I think Nationals fans would be the first ones to tell you that. Definitely the biggest addition, though, is Joey Gallo. I like the process of the move they're doing here, signing a guy who used to be really good, giving him a starting role, seeing if he can get his form back, become the player he once used to be. Gallo is really good. He was really good, but maybe the Nationals see something in him that they can bring back the Joey Gallo of Texas in him. And if he's good, you can either build around him and make him a big part of your core, or you can trade him at the deadline for a nice prospect. We'll see. I like the addition of Joey Gallo to the Nationals and what it brings to them. And finally, ending it off in the NL East with the Marlins and a guy they just added yesterday, which was their only major league signing, and that is Tim Anderson. Not much to say here. I talked about it a lot last episode when it broke. So if you want to check out that, check it out. It'll be up there, and I'll probably put it at the end of the video of this clip on YouTube if you want to check out my thoughts on Tim Anderson and other signings. He brings a nice shortstop to the Marlins, nice consistent everyday guy in a low pressure environment, so that he can kind of get his career back on track in a place that there aren't as much expectations and things like that, for him to quietly try to rebound after his horrible season last year with the White Sox. So not really anything else for the Marlins because they haven't done much. But for the things they have, I did like the Tim Anderson signing, and I think he's definitely going to be impactful for the season for them. Moving on to the NL Central here, we have for the Cubs, Shoto and Managa. They didn't really add much to the Cubs. They added Michael Busch on a trade. Nick Daenerys, free agent signing. Craig Counsell is a manager, but I'm not really counting him. Imanaga has some question marks, of course. He had some stuff with his physical go down, and there are some question marks from Japan, like his home run problem. But I still think he's going to be impactful. I still think he is a good player overall, and I think he's going to be a nice addition to Chicago and bring a nice element to that pitching staff. They're losing some guys like Marcus Stroman, who went to the Yankees, of course. So I think Imanaga should fit in well there, and brings a nice pitcher to the north side. The Reds. I talked about this guy a few times now on the show, and I talked about it today as well with Kenneth for his show. 2 segments about baseball. Me and him talked about that. So if you want to watch that, go ahead. It's on the channel. Frankie Montas and the Reds. I love this signing so much. I think it was a great move by the Reds to sign him, a guy that I thought was going under the radar in the market. Brings another element to that pitching staff that I think could be really good. I mean, they have 5 legit starters, in my opinion. Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, legit. Frankie Montas, in my opinion, is going to be really good. I think Graham Ashcraft is really good. I think Nick Martinez was a smart signing by them to stretch him out and make him a starter. So, I definitely like the signing for Frankie Montas to the Reds, and I think it made a lot of sense and is really good for them. So, yeah. The Brewers. Adding Rhys Hoskins is definitely their most impactful addition. They didn't really do much except for trade Mark Canha and Corbin Burns. And re-sign Wade Miley. Woohoo, I guess, if you're a Brewers fan. But, the Brewers have been needing offense for a long time, and finally getting a middle-of-the-order bat like Rhys Hoskins helps with that. Obviously, he was out for the entirety of last year, but I don't think that really matters when going over a first base DH type. I think he brings a lot to that lineup that you didn't have in the past few years. So I'm really excited to watch him in Milwaukee and how he gets back from his rehab and if he can be the Rhys Hoskins of before in his career. Finally, we have the Pirates. This one might be an interesting choice to a lot of people, but to me, it makes a lot of sense and it's definitely their most impactful addition. Maybe not their best player, but definitely most impactful in my opinion. And that is Yasmani Grandal. Now, Yasmani Grandal is definitely past his prime. He's not a starter in this league anymore. But I think he brings I think he brings an element to this Pirate team that they didn't have before, which is a veteran catcher and a veteran leader. Now, obviously, you have veteran leaders. You have guys like Andrew McCutchen, who are definitely going to be veteran leaders. But Grandal, I think, specifically helps one entity of the team, and that is Henry Davis. Henry Davis was your first overall pick, who you picked to be a catcher. There are some question marks about his glove going forward, but I'm not a big deterrent on that. I still think he can be a really good catcher in this league. And I think adding him Grandal, adding a veteran in the catching space can help him be that, can help him work with that, and help him with his defense at catching and how he's going to perform. And I love the Grandal signing. Again, I think it's adding a nice veteran backup to Henry Davis after the unfortunate Endy Rodriguez injury. It was a great move for this young team and a great move by Ben Cherington. So, I thought it was a great move for the Pirates, and I definitely think he's going to be the most impactful. Maybe not hitting-wise, but I definitely think he is going to be a really good player. And, I'm really excited to watch him with the Pirates. So, yeah. We're going to go on to the NL West here, and we're going to start with who else but the Dodgers. I'm not going to spend much time on this. It's Shohei Ohtani. It's Ohtani. When you have the best player in baseball, that's what the answer is going to be. Yes, he's not pitching this year, but he's still one of the best hitters in baseball, maybe even the best. And he still is the best player in baseball. Maybe not for this upcoming year because he's not going to be pitching. But as soon as he pitches one inning, to me, he'll be the best pitcher in baseball again. Pretty easy here. It's Shohei Ohtani. He's the best player in baseball. Dodgers added him. Can't get more impactful than that. The Diamondbacks, Eduardo Rodriguez. This is another signing I talked about on the show a good amount, how much I love it. I thought it was a great move by the Diamondbacks to bring in a guy like Eduardo Rodriguez to solidify that rotation a little bit more. I think he's going to be really good with them. He had a good season with the Tigers, bouncing back after a rough first season where he dealt with some personal issues as well. So, I think a top 3 of Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, that can play with anyone in this league, man. bringing in even guys like Brandon Pfaadt, who can be a number 4 guy. I'm really a big fan of this Eduardo Rodriguez signing. Also the future as well. Merrill Kelly's getting older, so you can just, when he does eventually leave the team or maybe even retires, you can slot in Eduardo Rodriguez as the number 2 guy, and it's kind of a seamless transition. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of this Eduardo Rodriguez signing for the Diamondbacks, and just a fan of what it brings as an element to the team. The Padres, it's Michael King, pretty easily. He was a big part. He was the main part of the Juan Soto trade for a reason. He's a really good pitcher. I'm really high on him as a starting pitcher with the Padres. I think they are as well. The Yankees made him a starting pitcher for a reason. They thought they could get something out of him, and by doing that, they got Juan Soto. So yeah, I think it's a nice little butterfly effect to watch if you're a Padres or Yankees fan. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what Michael King can do with the Padres rotation, with that staff, and see what he brings to them, and see if he can replicate what he did last season in the second half with the Yankees, and bring it to the Padres and that rotation that desperately needs it after losing Blake Snell, or what we assume will be losing Blake Snell, because obviously he has not left the team yet, because he has not signed with anyone. So yeah, the Giants, to me, it's Jorge Soler. I mean, yeah, adding a middle of the lineup bat like this is extremely impactful, especially for the Giants, a team that needed a big righty power bat. Jung Hoo Lee was probably the bigger signing with a 6-year deal, but I like Soler a little bit more just because of how much power he does bring to that lineup. He brings another, just how good he is at hitting and crushing baseballs, and I really like the signing for the Giants to get that middle of the order settled in, and bringing in a guy like Soler definitely fixes that and definitely helps that. And I'm very excited for Giants fans to get to watch Jorge Soler. I really wanted him on the Mets, and yeah, I'm excited to watch him in the Bay and see if he can hit any balls into McCovey Cove, even as a righty. The Rockies, finally. Cal Quantrill, I guess. Again, the Rockies haven't done much because of the Rockies. Nice little pickup from the Guardians, who let him go after some not great seasons, after a nice start to his career. So, yeah, we'll look forward to see if the Rockies can find a nice young pitcher in Colorado with Cal Quantrill. I doubt it, because it's Coors Field. People usually don't play very well in Coors Field if you're a pitcher, because of the altitude and all that. We know this already, though. So it's really the only addition the Rockies made that was notable, so not much to say about this. So, yeah, that's our third segment here. We talked about NL teams and what their most impactful additions were. I'm going to go to a break, but first we're going to talk about what's going on in the spring training games. And from last I checked, nothing has really happened, so nothing to mention here. So, yeah, we're going to go to break, and then after that, we're going to be talking about our third and final segment, which is going to be, our fourth and final segment, news around the league, and, yeah, just what's going on with that, some general news stories around the league. And, so, yeah, we'll talk about that after break, so we'll see you then. Thanks. All right, we're bringing you our fourth and final segment here, which is going to be about news around the league, just what's going on right now, and some things to talk about here, and what's going on with that. So let's get it started here. The first one, this broke while I was on stream, so I'm doing it now so I don't forget about it. That's Jung-Hoo Lee. He is not going to play in the Giants Cactus League game tomorrow, as he's dealing with some minor side soreness, and the Giants are going to be extra careful with him and make sure that it's not something serious, which I don't think it will be. It seems like it's minor side soreness, so he won't be in the lineup. Obviously, it's not a great start to his tenure in the Bay, but it's not a big deal. Again, players get injured all the time, even for little things in spring training. I am talking about just because he did have some injury risks back in Korea that were brought to our attention when he was posted and was in talks with a lot of teams. So, you don't want this to become a trend for Jung-Hoo Lee after giving him a 6-year contract. If you're the Giants, you don't want him to, get injured and kind of be injury prone, of course. So, just something there, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think it'll just be something that goes away, but I thought it was notable to talk about. First, the Reds. They've made some nice moves over the past day or so. Mike Ford and Tony Kemp have signed with them. Both good additions, both good depth additions. Mike Ford especially, I think, is nice. Had a pretty good season with the Mariners last year, surprisingly. Got a minor league deal with the Reds. I think provides good depth in the first base DH position. Maybe can fill out the Joey Votto role that is not going to be there because Votto left, of course, and is probably not coming back. We don't really know, but yeah. So I like the Mike Ford addition. I think it's a nice MILB deal for the Reds. Brings some nice depth to first base and DH. Tony Kemp as well, I thought was really nice. Brings some nice middle infield depth. Not that the Reds need any more middle infielders, believe me, but it's nice depth and it's a nice signing. I know a good amount of teams were interested in him actually, so good for the Reds to get him. Next, the Red Sox. We have some news about them, and it is apparently that they are prioritizing Jordan Montgomery over other free agents, and they want him, but they're waiting for his price to come down. Now, I don't think this is a big shocker to anyone. I think from what we've seen in the offseason, the Red Sox were definitely prioritizing Jordan Montgomery just because he made the most sense. His wife's in Boston. He lives in Boston in the offseason, apparently. The Red Sox need pitching. I think there's mutual interest for Montgomery and the Red Sox, but obviously Montgomery is not signed yet, and I think his market's going to have to come down for someone to sign him because, it's spring training games are in day number 2, and he's still not signed, and we don't even think he's close to signing as well. So, I think it will be a good signing for the Red Sox, of course. I'm a big fan of Monty. I think he's a really good player, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where he goes. I'm excited to see where all the guys go. Get some news in this and also some more stuff to talk about, of course. But it makes sense that the Red Sox are prioritizing him. He's going to be cheaper, of course, than Blake Snell, which the Red Sox probably definitely want. So, would be a big fan of Jordan Montgomery to the Red Sox and what's going to happen with that. And, looking forward to seeing if it gets done and seeing what the eventual price is for Montgomery and who signs him. I still really have no idea. If you want to see my other videos on Jordan Montgomery, I'm sure there's a few on there about me talking about the free agents and rumors going on with them. So feel free to check those out. The playlist at the end of this video, baseball playlist will be at the end in the end screen. So we can watch that. You can click on that and see all my videos and the other videos from the baseball podcast as well. But the racing videos are mine. So you can check it out. Next, some nice depth move for the Mariners here. They signed Brian Anderson to a minor league deal. Anderson is most known for his days in Miami, where he was one of the better players on a fading Miami team that had traded a bunch of players and was kind of looking for an identity, was kind of rebuilding. So he was always good on those teams, kind of known as the only good player. Kind of faded over the past few years and got non-tendered last year. Went to the Brewers, was okay. Signed a minor league deal now with the Mariners, of course. So I think it's something to watch. I think it's a nice depth move for the Mariners. Sorry about that. I think it's it's good for the Mariners to bring them in, bring some nice depth to third base in the middle infield, And if he can get a little bit of what he was in Miami, I think it's a nice move for the Mariners. And nice to prioritize getting players like this, like Brian Anderson, who are on MILB deals but have shown proven success in the major leagues. And what's going to happen with him. And yeah, I like the... sorry about that again. Hopefully that goes away. And a nice move for the Mariners. Also, Vladimir Gutierrez played with the Reds the past few years. Just a nice depth pitching signing for the Mariners. Nothing really else to say here. Just good depth signing for the Mariners with good pitching. They have a lot of good pitchers, but you can always use more depth, and I think Gutierrez is nice depth. Austin Nola, he went to the Royals. He signed a big league deal with the Brewers this year, but after the Gary Sanchez signing became official, the Brewers let him go to seek other opportunities, and that's what he did, immediately signing with the Royals. Brings some nice catching depth to that young Royals team. Brings some nice veteran appearances behind Salvador Perez, Freddie Fermin, MJ Melendez if he does play the catcher position. Just a nice, good, solid veteran backup for the Royals. I like what he brings, and I think it was a good signing for them. And a good move in general. So, yeah, nothing else to say there. I think it was a good move for the Royals, and I like the moves they made, and I especially like the depth move they made here with bringing in Mr. Austin Nola. Sorry, we're going to take another swig of water. Albert Pujols next on the agenda. I talked about him yesterday, but I didn't get the full story, so I wanted to touch on it a little bit more. So yesterday I talked about how he was going to be the manager of a Lee Doom team in Dominican Winter Ball. And not just that, he wants also to be a manager in the MLB. He told ESPN that he hopes this will give him experience and what it needs to be a manager, and he's hoping to become a manager in the future for a major league team. I don't think that's impossible. Definitely not. I mean, Albert Pujols is one of the best hitters of all time in baseball history, one of the greatest players in baseball history, especially if you look at just primes of baseball, how good he was in his prime with the Cardinals. I think he's definitely up there with greatest prime of all time. But yeah, like I've said before on this show, I'm always a fan of former players getting involved in the teams and getting involved in the upstairs part of it, and that part. And I think him being a manager would be a nice move for any team if he gets the experience. Of course, he knows a lot about baseball, but also that, it's also, I think, very impactful for players. Very, they want to play under a legend like Albert Pujols. I mean, if I was a major league player, I'd sure want to play under Albert Pujols, get wisdom from him. I know he knows what he's talking about. You can also say it to the fact that I studied under Albert Pujols, who's one of the greatest players of all time. So, yeah, I think it'd definitely be interesting if he's going to be a major league manager in the future, and I think it's something to look out for. He's a very smart guy. He's done TV before. He knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing. So, I think it's something to look for if Pujols does become a manager. Finally, we had to end it off on what else but the jersey fiasco with MLB. I don't know how to put this in the most PG of terms, and I'm going to try. The pants that Fanatics has made for the MLB season and their new jerseys, they're see-through. So you can see through the pants and see things that are under the pants, if you know what I mean a little bit. It's not... it's not very good, not a very good look for MLB, and Fanatics especially. I think the jersey thing has been has been really all throughout the season, just what's been going on with that. Fans that first of all hated the lettering on the jersey and just the new numbers and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of, overthinking it. The jerseys were really good before. Why are you messing with them? I don't understand. So, yeah, it's just kind of been really weird to watch what's going on this spring training with the jerseys, and this is just another addition to it. It's just embarrassing for baseball, in my opinion. Rob Manfred has to make some sort of statement saying, this is unacceptable. Either we're going to cut ties with Fanatics and it just didn't work out, we wish them the best, or the fact that we're gonna try to build upon this and try to make the jerseys better and the pants better. It's just not a great look for MLB with what's going on right now. So, yeah, just the whole jersey thing. Started off with the lettering, and I'm now going with this, with see-through pants. It's just crazy to me how Major League Baseball can still do this. And, yeah, it's just not great. And hoping MLB fixes it, because it's kind of putting a damper on what should be an exciting season. There's so many fans distracted by the jerseys and just that whole situation with what's going on with it. So, yeah, just to recap a little bit, I talked about Mike Ford and Tony Kemp, them going to the Reds. I like the depth signings for the Reds and what it means for them, what it means for the team going into next year. The Red Sox and Jordan Montgomery, I think it makes so much sense on paper. Should have happened already with how much sense it does make and where the Red Sox want to be. They need to sign a guy like Jordan Montgomery, and prioritizing him makes sense. If you can get his price down to a really great price and kind of a lot less than what you were expecting because of the way his market has fallen, I think that would be a great move by them and a great decision to make. I like the Brian Anderson depth move for the Mariners. If he can regain his form back in Miami, I think it'll be a really good move. And I just think it's nice depth for the Mariners, and I think these are some moves smart organizations do. Same with Austin Nola. I like what he brings to the Royals' young team and a veteran presence, especially at the backstop position. So, yeah. Albert Pujols and him being a manager, I would love to see that in the future. Love to see if that does come to fruition for him and see what happens there. And that will be very exciting if you are a baseball fan. And finally, the jerseys, of course. We have to talk about them, how embarrassing they have been, and just what's going on with that, and what the image looks like for Major League Baseball, and how that is affecting them and affecting their fan base. So, before we end, we're going to touch up on the final end of the spring training games. Derek Hill has hit a double for the Rangers. It is now 4-2 in the bottom of the fifth. We have Davis Wensdell up against the Royals with man on second and third for the Rangers, hoping to add to that lead. Still 6-1 Cubs. Nothing's happened since the second inning. The Padres have a run, but the Dodgers scored another. It is 3-1 Dodgers. Freddie Freeman just got another run in on a sacrifice fly, so that's good. He's off to a nice start. It's 1-0 Rockies. Alheris Montero hit a solo home run and broke the tie here, so that game's getting a little more exciting, I guess. And, well, yeah, if you're a baseball fan, I'd say watch these games today. I'm not sure when this is going to be up, so I'm not sure if they'll be done yet. But, yeah, they're exciting, and it's exciting that baseball's finally going on. And we have some more stuff to talk about, and I'm really looking forward to the season. So I want to thank you so much for watching the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support has meant a lot, and I'm hoping to start my second week off with this with some news. So come on, baseball, give me some news over the weekend. Yeah, follow us everywhere. We have content: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Yeah, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting the network, and it is really appreciated. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on Monday. So thanks, and bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go.